Hello everyone and welcome to episode 69 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice. Listen to the description below. Yes, we are at a meme number. Everybody laugh. We're 69. I'm your host, GM and overseer Podcast of Five Rings of Obsidian. I don't know if I said this already. Did I repeat myself?
You might have.
Sure.
Probably. Whatever.
I'm going to be honest. I zone out when you do the intro.
Well, damn it, Meta. I need your full attention this whole time.
I've heard it 69 times, Dan.
More
than that, because I say it twice.
He's going to say it twice now.
Yeah.
70.
That's the Dark Fortune Duelist meta.
Whatever, Dan. I'm off to go do teen stuff.
Go to Vegas already, yes. And the resident wildcard Mao. Y'all are just going on vacation. I'm going to be stuck at work. It's going to suck.
Rolling the dice.
Y'all suck. Why'd I have to get the flu at the beginning of the year?
When I get rich from Vegas, Obs, I will make sure to potentially remember you.
Just remember me. The like nothing beyond that. Oh yeah. Obs.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
All right. There
Obs,
we go.
yeah.
Oh yeah. All this money.
I'll take some money. I'll take money. You can even forget me after you give me the money.
I won't care.
I was just like, I don't care. Just give me money. I'll take the cash prize, please.
He'll never say no to that. Yep. What was the was it Wheel of Fortune where you could take cash, or the at one point they had you would pick prizes from a room, or what game show was that?
I don't know.
I used to watch old game shows when I was a kid because the Game Show Network was a thing.
I am sure there was like a show where it was like you could either take a lump sum of money or you could gamble it and attempt to get something better, because I know that's
there's like, the with the briefcases where you open the briefcases.
Deal or no deal.
Yeah, deal or no deal.
deal.
Where he was like, I'm going to give you $25,000 or you can keep going.
Yeah. And then you just gamble it. You essentially going for a bigger prize.
Yeah. That show is just yell at people and think you're smarter than they are and call them idiots.
Right.
And then if you got up there, you'd probably mess it up.
Wait, hold a second. How's that different from the regular day we go through?
Oh, fair enough.
I'm
thinking
idiots.
I can just see like now. I'm just like sat back and stare. My God.
Yeah, oh my God. What have I been doing
Takes
this whole time without even realizing it?
Shows off second set
of sunglasses.
My God. All right, so you guys are Meta. You're going to Vegas, and
I'm going to Vegas. I'm going for the Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest. It's gonna be hopefully a good time. I'm hoping that they will do as they've done in the last two Fan Fests, and they'll reveal that they are indeed working on the next expansion.
It's about that time.
It is about that time. We've essentially finished the Stormblood story for Final Fantasy 14, and they're kind of gearing up to start telling the next story, which looks like it's taking us to Garlemald. But they've still got a couple patches to go. Obviously, the expansion is probably not actually coming out until like late next year or early 2020. Probably late next year, I'm guessing, because of the patch schedule. But it'll all depend on how many patches we have for this expansion. But either way, we're building towards that. I think it's time to drop that information, because let me tell you something, man. Well, going to FanFest is great. Let's be honest, a lot of people are going there because they want to see what's coming next, what is down the pipeline.
Yeah.
But that might be me.
Or, get drunk with guildies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Get drunk. Vegas is great. There was, I will say this, this was bad on SE, but they stated that they were surprised as well. When the tickets originally went out, it sold out within the first 10 or 20 minutes. I think it was 10 minutes. The moment it opened up, first 10 minutes in, all the tickets for it sold out. People were livid, to say the least. And SE essentially stated that came out with the press, and there was like Debacle. Some people were saying that people were getting in before they didn't even have to wait in the queue. They were just somehow able to get in, and it was letting them get tickets before it happened. Other people were saying that there was like tons of scalpers and whatnot. And as far as SE came back, so they said that like only 500 people accidentally got in without having to really wait, but they didn't scalp or take extra tickets beyond the names that they put on for themselves, and the scalper rumors were put down. But that they did not expect the number of people because the 2 times beforehand, they literally had tickets left like right before the event. You could go on there like a week before and buy a ticket and still get to it. Yeah. So the fact that it just suddenly ran out this year is a little bit silly. So either there's a ticket number discrepancy that suddenly happened, and I'm somehow having a hard time believing that suddenly everybody got really, really interested in buying this ticket. So, but yeah, they came out and apologized for it. So, but I still encourage people to go to Vegas if you didn't get a ticket anyway, because Vegas is freaking awesome. There's a lot of stuff out there.
It's pretty cheap to go too.
Yeah, there's shows out there. There are events out there. Parties on the weekends from any place, clubs, and you name it. There is something to do out in Vegas.
But the legendary buffet. I want to eat a legendary Vegas buffet.
There is.
Ted's just went to Vegas like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
For work. Yep, for work. But he still got to eat delicious food.
Yeah.
And he actually had a fresh takoyaki.
Oh,
Mao's got like 10 days off from work or something, don't you?
Well, I took today was the last day I work until the 19th.
So 11 days off.
Sure.
No, it's 10. It's 10.
Oh, okay.
That's 10.
I also found out we had next Monday off, which I did not realize.
But,
damn it!
You know.
So I don't have to use PTO for that.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Take another day off near the holidays. But you're going to be playing lots of gacha games, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Oh yeah, all gacha games.
That's why I'm.
Got to do your multitask gaming.
Actually, I might try and what was it? Yakuza 1 Kiami or something? It was one of the free games this month for PlayStation Plus. I might try that. I've also been back into building models, as you've seen me in Tets Talk.
Yeah.
On Discord. I picked up some and finally I had one sitting half finished on my desk for like the last year, I think, practically. Maybe not quite, but yeah. So
now it's done.
Finally finished it, and then moved on to more. So we'll see. Eventually, I'll just get tired of it, and they'll just sit around for a while.
That's how I am with like painting minis and stuff.
That
I
is
do it
exactly
like once a year. I'll get into it for like a month, and then I go.
I'll paint a mini, and then for the next 6 months, I'll be like, I should probably paint the rest of my minis.
I have so many D&D unpainted minis, so
it's the same thing. I just think that's the problem. Is like it's not super fun for me at all. I'm just not super engaging.
Doing things like painting little minis or working on like gunpowder models. I just like having something to do with my hands, like while I can sit at my desk or instead of playing video games or something.
I'll do it while I watch movies or something.
Yeah,
hang out.
I always have something on.
But
Ted's is actually working on a diorama right now.
Something with trains or something.
What are you working on? Like a convoy, and the Zaku's are going to attack it.
Got you.
Apparently, there's a hobby place near us that has like a contest, and only one person entered last time. So he's like, I might as well try and enter.
Yeah. And then his daughter can eventually blow it up.
It's next weekend, so he's working real quick on that.
Yeah. Well, let's get into topics, shall we?
All right.
Sure thing.
All right, I'm up first tonight. Obviously, well, probably not obvious to some, but Blizzcon was this past weekend. I'm not really going to talk about what all was announced there and stuff like that. More one specific announcement. But BlizzCon's where Blizzard gets together and, showcases their big games. So stuff related to World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, Diablo, that stuff.
They had Laura Bailey sing.
Yeah, she did. She sang the song from WoW. I can't remember it. But it was the Jaina Proudmoore thing, because I think she voices Jaina Proudmoore.
Yep, she does. She's the voice of Jaina Proudmoore. And Liam O'Brien is the voice of Illidan. Yep.
Space Jesus.
Space Jesus.
He's out in space or something. I don't know.
He's out in space doing space
I have no
Jesus
clue what
things.
happened at the end of the last expansion. But anyways,
He went mano a mano with Sargeras, I think.
Yeah, they like zipped off on the Rainbow Bridge, or it's like Thor or something. That's what I got out of it. But
Mitsumi, Illidan.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, with the big kind of
what did it culminate in? What was their big finale?
For what? For the last expansion?
For BlizzCon. Their big
Let's get into that.
Yeah. So Blizzard kind of built up hype around Diablo. Something Diablo was going to happen at BlizzCon this year, and there's more came out. The story's kind of interesting if you follow the chronological timeline of it. So they announced a new game, Diablo Immortal, which is a mobile Diablo game, and a lot of people are expecting Diablo 4 to be announced. Apparently, I don't know. I haven't went through and read the redactions. I know Jason Schreier put out an article that said that they were going to show Diablo 4, but decided not to right before BlizzCon. But he had to redact certain parts of that, and I haven't seen what all he redacted, so some of that may or may not be true. I don't know.
I saw an article from after BlizzCon that he put out saying that they had a trailer and that trailer got pulled.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Blizzard said that no, that was not for BlizzCon. That was for something else.
Okay, gotcha. That's probably what he had to redact then.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so obviously this did not go over well with hardcore Diablo fans who've been waiting on. I don't remember when Diablo 3 came out.
Beforehand that Diablo 4 was not actually going to be at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Well, they I don't know if they didn't give expectations up or not, because apparently they released an article out beforehand, and they didn't give any specific details when they released it, but they were trying to state subtly, don't get your hopes up too much.
Yeah. It was like a blue post on the forums, or it was something like that.
But unfortunately, it also kind of depending on how you read it, it could also be a hint that, don't get your hopes up too much, tee-hee.
Yeah.
And I guess some people saw it that way and went with that way, and it might have been just better to say, we're not showing anything too big. Don't get your hopes up. But I guess the way it was just written out, there's a lot of contributing factors.
Because what did they show?
What'd you say, Mal? Sorry.
What did they show?
They showed
the
Diablo
best thing
Immortal,
ever.
A mobile game, which is something people don't want. Blizzard's kind of, at least in the WoW community, lost a lot of good faith with people, and I think the WoW and Diablo kind of overlap a little bit, because they're the fantasy stuff. They're different games. They're very different games, but it's your fantasy realm. I'm sure people love Overwatch and stuff like that too, and love all those games as well. But Overwatch is kind of like its own thing, whereas Diablo and WoW are all about the loot grind and killing stuff, and that kind of game. So Blizzard's already kind of lost a lot of good faith with people because of the BFA launch, and the game, for lack of a better term, kind of just not even. Everybody says beta for Azeroth because it feels like an unfinished game that they launched, and now people are kind of disappointed that there's a Diablo mobile game coming, and that they feel kind of like they were misled. And I saw one person's video about it saying what they should have done was do what Bethesda did.
Yes.
At E3 and shown their Elder Scrolls mobile game, but kind of buoyed that. Everybody forgot about it when they showed the teaser trailer for Elder Scrolls 6 at the end. So they could have just shown a little 10-second trailer, and probably there wouldn't be this giant thing.
They probably could have. I'll even one up, and I'll save you time and space. They could have opened up PowerPoint, slapped in Diablo 4 on that bad boy, and pressed F5 to present it, and
just a logo even or something.
Yeah, just a logo, not even animation.
I think the biggest problem with this whole announcement was its presentation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It should not have been the end of the keynote. It should have been somewhere in the middle of the announcements. So that end on something like World of Warcraft 3
Warcraft 3, which was what people liked the most out of BlizzCon. It seemed like
that should have been the closer. Diablo Immortal should have just been somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And yeah, or if it had to be at the conference, this conference was not the right audience in general for this game.
Yeah, there's. I mean, you have a PC crowd. You have a console and PC crowd who are going to this game. They are looking forward to what again, like when you go to these things, you're kind of hoping to see what's in store for a major development for the future of the series, not so much a side thing or something extra. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not always everybody, and that's probably shouldn't be everybody. But it's just this is not the target crowd to throw that thing towards, and to make it that ending thing. And even worse is, I think personally, at least in my eyes, is the death knell is the back and forth when the crowd kind of heckles and then the response given.
They
did.
Will they ever do a Diablo QA again?
Oh my God.
Probably not.
That was the worst.
Yeah, like
I
some
get
people ask, like, is this an April Fool's joke?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And then
then
some people were like, will this ever be on PC? And one guy was like, no, don't you guys have phones?
That was the worst. That was the worst thing you could have possibly said to your crowd.
Pretty much. Like,
Worst thing.
It was not good.
I feel sympathetic for him because I understand completely what it's like to be in front of a large crowd, and
it's not the dev's fault.
In charge of this at all, right?
It's not the dev's fault.
It's not
so far removed from
it's Activision.
He's just like,
it's not
been told, go out there and talk about it.
They make the games Activision tells them to make, basically, and
they
mobile games make a lot of money, so of course they would want to do a mobile game.
Absolutely. And it makes sense. I mean, we've talked about this before. That market is huge and arguably is the future of the gaming market. It allows more people easier access, which we've talked about. Easier access is always a king when it comes to getting something to someone that you want them to play with. Everybody's got phones. Even if you're a businessman who never played a game in your life, you've got a bloody phone. The temptation to pick up a phone game one day is always there in front of you. But a gaming computer, a gaming console, that's something you still have to go out and buy and get. And that's the difference.
This is so it's not even being done by them. Like, they're not wasting development on this. Like, I'm sure they'll oversee it in some way, but it's being done by a Chinese gaming studio, and it's probably mainly targeted at the Chinese market because that's a huge market that's largely untapped by the West. And going mobile is basically the only way you can do it right now because they've banned all full console style game releases. Yeah,
it was just tone deaf a little bit in the way they went about it, because I think they could have expected this probably kind of reaction. But again, they have to do what Activision says. It's not the dev's fault or the guy standing up there. And I thought Blizzard actually responded to it really well. They kind of understood. They didn't blame their fans or
outside of the QA.
Yeah.
Outside of the QA.
Well, even the guy was kind of laughed. The guy kind of laughed about it a little bit. I think he kind of knew someone was going to say anything. He could have handled it way worse. He could have called.
Certain he knew when he walked up there. At some part of him,
was going to get
he
a bad
had to know when
reception.
he walked there. He's like, "This is not the best."
That's
way to
why
go.
I feel bad for him, because he kind of got thrown to the wolves in a sense. He's just trying to, I guess, make the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah. By the way, the Blizzard is in partnership with NetEase, who is actually making the game. It's being done from ground up, but apparently, from what people are noting, is that there are similarities between it and another game.
Yeah, it might just for all we know, this game could just be awful. Which, you know,
which I mean,
it could be fun. It could be the funnest mobile game ever.
I mean, it'll only reinforce the people who said this was an awful decision. But I mean,
I don't think it's an awful decision in and of itself. It's just the way that they announced it. The PR was awful.
Yeah, we've seen this before. PR can absolutely kill a game before it ever has a chance to sign. We saw this with Evolve. That game died because of sales and PR. That's literally how it went down. The game was a good game, but it was killed before it ever actually hit the shelves to be able to be played.
And one thing I don't like about the discussion around this is kind of in a sense, a lot of game journalists have kind of overly been defensive in the case of Activision and called all the people who were kind of upset and vocally upset about the game entitled gamers, and it started this whole entitled gamer discussion around this. What do you guys kind of think of it? Because I think people, as if you can respectfully and without harming someone voice your opinion, like that's fine. And ultimately, you're going to vote with your wallet on the game. And
absolutely.
That's like my 2 cents. It doesn't like do any good to. And Blizzard didn't come out and say that their fans are entitled. I don't think it does any good for you to throw punches at your target audience. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I see it all over the place about how mobile games aren't real games or mobile gamers aren't real gamers.
Yeah.
That gets pretty annoying. So that's probably a lot where it comes from. That's been a discussion for a long time.
Yeah,
like for many years.
I can't say I've seen it as much as you, but I mean, I don't think it's ever.
It's out
really
there,
died.
but I'm like,
it's out there. It's just not.
I'm just like, it shouldn't matter. Like if you have that label, like
I don't know.
Who cares at the end of the day?
Sure, it doesn't affect me. It's amazing how much people will like.
It's drawing lines. People are drawing lines, and this
gatekeeping the community from
It's
just because they might play a mobile game.
It's gatekeeping from like every direction, though. Not even gatekeeping. This is literally you're crafting. We're applying labels, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Is such a '90s thing to say, but don't label me, man. I mean, that's what it is. It's labels. Entitled gamers. You're not a casual gamer. Oh, you're a cell phone gamer
PC
or whatever.
Gamer,
you're a
console gamer. Blah blah blah.
These labels, first off, are creating. Anytime you slap that onto somebody, you're immediately giving them a categorization, and then that person recognizes that. They feel like that because they are being categorized as this, there is now an us and them mentality that's immediately assigned to them. And you push that. So you say, oh, you're entitled gamers. And gamers get upset because, like, we're not entitled. We're just saying what we don't like. But then those same gamers will then turn around and potentially say, you're not really a gamer. You're just playing mobile games. And it's like, then you've got hardcore gamers, casual gamers. And then that can even be broken down to, oh, you're a casual, this kind of player for this kind of game. So I may be a hardcore gamer because I'm playing an MMO, but I might be a casual gamer of that MMO. We're breaking these things down. You either game or you don't. It doesn't need to be so much different. I just may not spend as much time. Exactly.
It doesn't affect you how other people play. Just let them be, man.
But the problem is that once you start applying these labels, and we have game journalists, and this is starting. I'm seeing this more and more. I really am, and I wish somebody would like perform a study just to make sure that this isn't confirmation bias on my own. But I'm seeing more and more that a lot of game journalists are turning around and fighting with the gaming community, and we're creating a divide that doesn't need to be there.
I don't know which side is,
I'm not saying either side's right or wrong,
but there are plenty of people who are attacking game journalists too.
Absolutely. No, I'm not saying either side is right. I'm just saying like game journalists are going after gamers, gamers are going after game journalists.
Yeah, I'm just like every time someone puts out an article or does a game review or whatever, and they're like, I had some difficulty with this spot or whatever, I'll see tons of if I'm on a Reddit thread, it'll be like, oh, this person sucks, they're not a real gamer, why are they phony game journalist and all that stuff.
It's disgusting that we have to see this. There shouldn't be this mentality. Some people get tripped up by certain things as opposed to other people. Nobody's infallible. There are even moments where I game something, and I like to think I'm a good gamer. I really do. I want to be honest, but I think I'm a good gamer. But there are even times where I'm looking at something like, I just don't get what the fuck I'm supposed to do. And then somebody will walk over and is like, you just got to do this. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm so stupid. It happens to everybody. That's just a fact. There is going to be something that you're doing either wrong, you're doing it the hard way. And I'll give you a perfect example where I didn't recognize I was making my life harder. In Metal Gear Rising, when you play the Sam DLC, there is an ability he has which allows him to taunt an opponent. It gives them increased damage, but it also drastically lowers their defense. You never really need to use this ability until the final battle. I had gone through the whole DLC not using it because it just wasn't necessary. And then the final battle took me a really long time. It wasn't hard. It was just like, wow, this guy's got a lot of health. Why is he so difficult? And it wasn't until later, after I was watching somebody else do it, because I was just seeing somebody speedrun the fight, and then I saw him do the taunt, and I'm like, I'm a freaking idiot. I could have just done that. It would have lowered his defense and made this way easier to beat him. That kind of stuff happens. So nobody's bad because they don't notice something. But the mentality that leads into us versus them, that needs to stop.
That's a very simple tool of rhetoric.
Vocal minority. I'm sure it's a very vocal minority, but like, it just feels the need to tell everyone how bad they are at something. Like, even if it's like a developer showing off a game for the first time, it's like, why are there like, you know, someone who hasn't even played the game is just talking about how bad this developer is at the game because they're not doing it optimally. Because, you know, developers are probably using, you know, they want to show off certain things about the game and hit certain beats. So obviously that's not going to be necessarily the most optimal way to show something. My favorite part is just all these people who will just get so angry that they're not doing 100% correct.
Yeah. It just, and I understand, and again, just drawing it back though, we see it, and then it ends up causing attacks on people who then feel like they need to defend themselves, and then they create again.
It's a perpetuating cycle.
Yeah,
then everyone's yelling and pointing fingers.
And then now all of a sudden we're getting a divide where game journals are striking at gamers, and gamers are striking at game journalists, and nobody's in the right at all. We're not doing anything. Nobody's actually discussing what is the issues of the game. We're discussing the fact that, oh, this person's an idiot for doing this.
Yeah, it's everything surrounding the discussion of the game.
Yeah, it's not actually about the game in and of itself anymore. It's about everything, as you said.
And that's what I feel the discussion around Immortal has even become. It's no longer like, what is the game going to be? Like, will it have microtransactions? Is it pay to win?
That was basically.
And I think that's where the anger comes from.
That's been the discussion. Like, people don't even want to talk about the actual like gameplay and whatnot.
And I think Diablo 3
it's not Diablo 4.
Yeah, and Diablo 3 had elements of that too, like microtransaction, pay to win stuff. If I'm speaking correctly, I've never played it.
It was the auction house you're talking about. It's the auction house that it first came out with. A lot of people did not.
So I think fans have a right to be wary and honestly react the way I did. I don't think, like, a lot of people said the guy who said that was out of line. I don't necessarily think, like, he wasn't up there saying anything defamatory or anything like that. Right. Yeah. I mean, he just had a strong react. You could tell he's passionate about Diablo. So, I mean, maybe they'll screen their questions better in the future so they don't have to deal with that. I don't know.
They should definitely do. But every fandom's got, you know, a vocal group of people that kind of act certain ways. Like, I've been told I'm not a real Diablo fan because I've only played Diablo 1 and 3, which is still 2/3 of the series.
Yeah, but Mao,
2, which is what everyone considers to be the
best, Mao.
Yeah, but Mao, you're not really a fan because you didn't play the best game,
right?
So I don't know. It's just people need to be better to each other on both sides.
Which I mean, it's easier said than done. I mean, there's always gonna be passion, and I know. The vocal minority thing, I want to make mention of this. We see it a lot, and I'm sure more than often it's right, but you see a lot of people talking.
I mean, sometimes it's backed up by the fact, like, there's a very vocal minority that say microtransactions are awful. And then the actual majority is, you know, they're making billions of dollars.
They make a lot of money, so
exactly.
people are fond with them.
Over half of Blizzard's revenue last year came from microtransactions.
I think all their games have them. So.
Why do you think they're making a mobile game?
Yes, I mean, that goes back to, you know, what it is. But then at the same time, as much as a vocal minority as they can be, that doesn't mean that just because it's a vocal minority, anybody should also ignore the vocal minority inherently because it's a vocal minority. I mean, we have there's a reason why there are very few professors or experts in a field as opposed to the mass majority who may or may not agree with those experts. So generally we defer to them. Not to say that these people are experts. I'm just giving you a point is that the minority shouldn't
sort of qualification to just shout at someone on the internet.
Yeah, there's no qualification for that.
I don't know. I got a degree in it. I don't know about you guys.
I got a degree in shouting at people.
I've got my doctor.
I have my doctorates in Flame Wars.
troll master.
But it still should be always warranted to never blind yourself to that small minority because they can make good points. They may not be right, but they can still make good points.
Right. Yeah,
but they could also be completely wrong.
Absolutely, but everybody could be completely wrong, and anybody could be completely right. It's just the idea is that don't blind yourself and don't deafen yourself to the majority or minority of anything.
It's the same sort of thought process as just because someone's using a logical fallacy in an argument doesn't mean that argument is wrong.
Yes, that obviously and that's actually a wonderful point to make. It still gets the point, which is what's more important than what the actual argument may always be.
But yeah, so that's what happened around BlizzCon. The good thing is though, like for all Blizzard's faults, I think they do like listen to their fans and try to like make better product and do better. They don't always initially make the right decisions, but I mean, they try to correct.
3 was pretty bad at release, but became a much better game.
Yeah.
As it went on.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I remember a lot of people were disenfranchised with the game. It had a lot of problems from the start, especially with people who were running through and getting to higher difficulties. I think the joke was that, do you want to play Monk on the hardest difficulty? Okay, here's what you do. Delete Monk and then create a witch or a voodoo master or something, and then play the game. I mean, there was a lot of balance issues. There were stuff like that. The game had a lot of faults for what it was when it first started off, but as you stated, it got better. And that will happen.
And wait till E3. I bet that's what we'll see Diablo for.
I do also know, as like, not to bash on Blizzard, I think they're an okay company. But not to bash on them. They have unfortunately done some things currently that have made people a little bit weary of them, and rightfully so. I remember specifically from some feedback of members from our FC who actually went to BlizzCon. They actually did state that there wasn't a lot there from what I've seen.
Yeah, I heard this was the worst value for your buck.
Yeah, it was really, there just wasn't a lot to announce. Like, you went to like kind of see what they're going to be doing, and there really wasn't a lot that they were telling you that they were doing. So you kind of just went to convention to chill out with people.
Yeah.
Which would be fine, except generally when you go to these things, you're paying a fair amount of money because you kind of want to be there on site when they announce these cool things and to get the cool stuff happening.
I feel bad for people who bought the virtual ticket.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people get really overly attached to like a developer or whatever, and like they, and nothing's going to be perfect forever.
No, it's not. No, as Blizzard put in their own game at the end of Wrath of the Lich King, no king rules forever, and that applies to companies too. Yeah. No company is going to be great forever. They're going to have faults. They're eventually going to have
peaks and valleys, even. Yep. Or I mean, and especially with something like this, whereas like this is old Blizzard would have been made up. The structure would be completely different, like different people, and then just different management structures and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people from old Blizzard have left. They're on the different.
The same thing with like BioWare or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, people have jobs, but they eventually retire.
Square.
Yeah, Square's absolutely Square. I mean, people eventually retire, or they want to work on something else, or they find a better job in a position. They want to move up, but that they can only do that at a different company. That happens. Yeah. People fall apart.
And that doesn't mean you shouldn't voice criticism. Just maybe like try and make things better.
Be constructive with it.
Yes, be constructive and try and be respectful, even if you might not think they deserve your respect. It's just easier that way.
I mean, remember that
it'll make the world a better place.
I mean, like, just remember that any one of these games can have hundreds and hundreds, quite literally 200 or more people working on it in different areas. They're not all going to be making the decisions.
Yeah. And then, you might have people very high up the chain will be like, we should have microtransactions.
Yeah, just and there's nothing they can do about that. Or there might be people on the inside who say, like, no, let's do this. And then there's other people who don't agree with that. And they may be right or wrong. We'll never know. But just remember that these are groups of people who make these decisions. And it's not right to attack them because they may not have agreed with it themselves.
Yeah. Blizzard apparently got very close to not even ever launching WoW.
Yes.
Which is a fascinating story, but
what was actually, I mean, like, actually, fun fact on this one. This is really funny. Apparently, in 2006, they made an April Fool's joke stating that they were going to apply all the abilities to the global cooldown, and then they did it with BFA. The Mad Lads.
No. Oh no.
Apparently, Jason Schreier in an article, a different thing from today, said he's talked to several people who have all confirmed that there is the Diablo 4 in the works. People have seen it. Like he didn't say at what state it's in or anything.
Yeah,
but it might even get canceled. But that's
Who knows?
It does exist.
Yeah,
it was out there. They approved
They're
it.
not killing Diablo.
They should have just shown something. They should
think.
if they just shown a little bit, they would have probably been fine.
Yeah, they really should have just done the Bethesda thing.
They really should have just done the Bethesda thing.
So
that was really the smartest move to make. Just show it off.
Yep.